Well, we're all logged in. This is a different view. This computer's been modified, and we call it. I know if it sounds like I'm talking to you, Emily, I'm talking to myself. Believe it or not, I'm talking to the phone. This nice young lady sitting next to me is getting abused by my voice sound. But as we do, we groom in the beginning because this is our mirror. We skipped a step because some nice person put this outside. We've used almost all of it. Forgive the hands. Anybody that's seen some of my videos knows I work with my hands for a living, which I like. Work with my body. My lower back seems to be the part of my body that's the most annoyed, recurring. But feet are the essence of. Let's go back to I skipped a step. I skipped a step. Actually, I skipped several. And within that one step, I found that it was really 7 steps or 3 steps. 3s and 7s are good numbers to use when you break into things, like your errors. Break into your errors, folks. Breaking human trafficking is as old as time. The cops were called on me one time at a speedway for saying human trafficking. Why do you go negative? Because of your emotions. So don't go straight negative. Isn't job recruiting human trafficking? Yes, it is. But now AI is going to use words like numbers. 1 is 1. And AI is going to turn words into meaning stuff again. And be careful. Because if you're that far behind, you may get discouraged when you try to catch up, but you can always catch up. Folks, your own self-talk and your own self-dialogue is going to be the thing that determines whether you're depressed, happy, angry, sad, all the things that you describe yourself as until you really, really get down to thinking about what's really going on. I'm poor in water. That's what I am. There's no such thing as poor. That means below. See? Or it means underneath. Or it means less than. Those are all acceptable. I don't know what the KJV defines poor as, but it may have 17 definitions. What's the context? Well, government largely and influencers didn't mean good or bad. Influencers, just people that influence, get you stuck on words, just like they get you stuck on anything that you might be stuck on, folks. And that gnawing that you're feeling is what this product is about. 208 hours. And I've put enough shorts out there, I think, for 13 years. And I'm still describing the product. I'm afraid you're going to move forward. See, I'm afraid. What is that? What is afraid, Vance? I don't really know in that context. I just said it. You have to be careful when you do that. I catch myself when I say things that it's not defined. So basically when I'm talking in two people, my flesh and my spirit. And I'm listening to myself and I'm checking it off as it goes. Most of the time. Not always, sometimes. When I'm doing a good job, I'm monitoring my own words, keeping track. My brain works really good, largely because I eat good and I exercise. I work for a living physically. And it pays me nothing right now, and that's okay, in dollars. It pays me in what? What's your paycheck in? See, that's an economist for you. I'm working to be like Stephen Levitt, who wrote Freakonomics. Now that book's Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner. Levitt's the University of Chicago guy, and Dubner's the New York Jew. His parents were Jewish. They became Catholic. He was born Catholic and became Jewish. That's awesome. Man, the meals at that household. If you don't know anything about kosher, folks, get down with some kosher. Go kosher for a week and tell me if your bowels don't change. I guarantee they will. You're getting rid of all the garbage. Now, if you're like me and you have alopecia or some issue that you don't quite understand, you may take an E panel or an A panel, or both, which I did both. That's 95 foods tested against your digestibility. Now, food is food. But it's not, for me, food is not your food for you. If your kosher food is a stick of chewing gum or a lobster, is not food. It's forbidden food or prohibited. And kosher is very, very complex, so you have to take some time to learn it. You're not going to learn it in a minute. You can eat it in a minute, but you can't learn it in a minute. But it has to be certified and trusted. There's trust. Kosher is so complex that you can almost not define it completely, thoroughly, unless you spend a real long, unless you live it. It's like Kaizen. Kaizen and kosher are very similar. Kaizen's undefinable for me. And I just knew there was another layer of Kaizen out there. And I found it. I found it last night when I was working and thinking. I was physically doing something that was going to add value and eliminate waste, or both. And a thought came that had nothing to do with what I was doing, but my unconscious mind broke through it and said in my own ear, because the only voice in my head is Vance and the only voice in your head is you. God doesn't talk to your head anymore. That's over. He wrote a book. This business of God's doing this and God's doing that. No, he's not. Talk to me. I'll explain it to you. Notice I said explain and not explain. My inner Kentuckian coming through. But the Kaizen organization then has it's past the Kyoku event. As you know, Kyoku is the 8th. As you don't know, Kyoku is the 8th. I have to remember, did I say it in a video that you probably haven't watched? Did Jim and I tell it to me in an audio message I had to listen to 15 times to get most of it? Or is it from past life? And I'll work to define it. It'll be number 9. I think I'm the legacy of Womack Jones. Because everybody went and monetized it but me. Because I can't comprehend money. I comprehend value. And every dollar I invest, whether it's $1,000 on a meal or $1 on a cigarette, I'm analyzing its value in current time. I heard the chief economist at Harvard, head of the Harvard Economist School, sharp guy. You can tell when someone's sharp and when they're shyster. I can. If you're an adroit listener, you define adroit for yourself. If you're an adroit listener, ADROIT, I love that word, then you pick up on things that other people don't, and it gives you an advantage, and I'm definitely one. I'll skip why. And that economist said that he doesn't understand, and he was funny too. He was on Gladwell's podcast. Malcolm Gladwell is a saint, deserves the Corridor Medal of the Rising Sun. That Japanese medal they gave LeMay, General Curtis Emerson LeMay, U.S. Air Force. Napalm. They gave The Economist, The Economist said, net present value. And when I learned net present value thoroughly, I never thought anything else was going to be valued any differently. But it's not. And I can't even talk about it because I don't think about it. I'm always in net present value. And I'm pretty good at it. Probably too good. I'm just going to pause for a second because it matters what I say next. So I'm going to be cautious when I bring things up. Sometimes. And other times I'm going to let it fly. Depending on what mood I'm in. Now, I don't want to define mood for you right now, but I know it better than most. And I worked really hard on getting the right label, and I still don't have them right. My mood disorder matters. Because you need to know that I have a mood disorder. They call it bipolar. I'd rather call it manic depressive. I think that's a better name for it. But manic is dangerous, and I'm rarely manic. Rarely. Like a couple times a decade, and it's not healthy. I have to be hospitalized. But I've been hospitalized a lot of times when I wasn't manic, and people thought I was. There's your problem. Elevated mood is and there's degrees within mania, there's degrees within elevated mood. But I've worked real hard to purify my diet, for one, and lifestyle, for 2. Celibacy being part of that. And for the most part. And the E panel and the A panel, see, I didn't forget where I was going. Tested 95 foods each and told me which ones I could digest. And if you were, and with Dr. Michael Savage, and you brought this up, he could describe for you what happened in those panels, how it's a digestibility test. It's not an allergy. It's a digestibility. And eggs were off the chart. I was polluting myself so badly with eggs. I don't know why, I don't know how. And I come to learn over time, this was in 2010, I've come to learn over time that it's the type of egg, what the chicken's personality was like, kind of. Was the chicken under duress? Basically, the stress of an animal depends on how well you digest it or not. It's toxin. Your stress level determines your toxin rate. On top of that, magnified. Did you get my point? Are you starting to see what I'm exposing? If you eat out of a gas station, you're in trouble. Okay? Although they've come a long way. And you're in less trouble than you were 20 years ago. Secretary Kennedy might be the most important person in Trump's administration, behind Dershowitz, Esquire, Professor Alan Dershowitz, Harvard, Esquire. No, if you can find all the reasons to believe what you're seeing on your screen or on your device or on your TV, but it's this tiny sliver. I look at things much differently than most, and I look through a lens of emotionless. My lens is emotionless 99% of the time. And when I start to get emotion, I'll put up the mirror and I start digging in on myself. I have conversations with myself constantly. So do you. You may not realize it. You can, over time, take control of those conversations, and I've had to. I've chosen to, through my free will. Now, you need to know the definitions of the words I'm using and the context to understand this video. And if you're confused, then either rewind it, stop watching it, pause, change your thing. Unless you're really entertained, then you can keep watching, but don't build on a bad foundation. If you haven't read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, don't start with Freakonomics. Freakonomics is the 5th book, and I haven't even told anyone the 17 books that are in 208 hours in a long time. I had it written down. I wonder where that original document is. That would be pretty cool. That's worth something, folks. Somebody's got it. Somebody has it. It's worth something. I kind of showed it to the Marines through the CIA when I applied for their website, but it was too hard. Why could I be a good CIA agent? I don't know. I'm just smart. Was I following all the rules that they said? No. I was going to have to lie to them. So I wasn't going to get hired. Are CIA cops? No. No. Are FBI cops? Yeah. You may not know much about the government. Would you work for the government? That's like working for the CIA. Would you work for the police force? That's like working for the FBI. Big difference. I like the CIA. I don't like much about the FBI. I think they're too resourced. This director's off the chain. He's telling people that he's going to get every criminal in jail. Now, that's insane. You ever heard of Grace, Director Patel? I know you're from Canada. I mean, come on, man. I pay attention to people. I forget who the current CIA director. You're not going to get the right answer out of them. They never tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help them God, ever. Maybe that's why they had to. You don't have to swear on the Bible anymore. Did you know that in the courtroom? I swear on the Bible everything I say all the time, everything I do, think all the time, and a lot of time I'm wrong, and I keep doing it. But that doesn't have much to do with this program. It has to do with the program's creator, 208 Hours, by Vance McQueen, or Indiana Vance if you're on TikTok. Indiana Vance. He's in the news all the time, isn't he? I'm tired of him. I don't really like him that much. He is a Marine, though. Pretty skilled. You have to be pretty skilled to be a Marine. I consider every Marine special. And I consider having influenced the fact that J.D. Vance is because I dumped so much data on him right before they made a decision. There was another Vance to compare it to. Part of that, there was no other Vance to compare it to, data-wise. They could see how interactions favored towards me. Now, that's a complicated one. That has nothing to do with 208 hours. That's me bragging a little bit. That's me giving myself an award. This is a long one, so we're going to get it on the internet. I felt like I've done this for 2 minutes. It's been 14 minutes. Folks, the video email is when you take a video, you put it on your YouTube page, and then you can upload it, and then you can post the link wherever you want. It's pretty powerful. There's some steps involved. I'll want someday go through each of the steps. But if you think there's going to be screenshots popping up and fancy displays and coming through my thing and effects, if you need digital effects to learn, there'll be a chalkboard at some point. I'll lose it. It'll be the first chalkboard, and then there'll be a second chalkboard. My North Carolina real estate teacher, white his face all the time, had chalk on. He said the guys in land and new construction are the ones that make all the money. Never understood that. Do now. Love you, folks. NCREC 255867. Excuse me. NCREC 255-867. That's the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, folks. They're no joke. Love you. Fair Housing, Act of 1968.